This is a Fox 4 breaking news report.
And we have breaking news at noon. White smoke from the Sistine Chapel signaling the election of a new pope for the Catholic Church. That white smoke first emerging from the famous chimney atop the Sistine Chapel at about 11:06 our time. They are 7 hours ahead in Italy, so this is about 7 o'clock p.m. and we are still waiting to see who will be the next pope for the more than 1 billion Catholics worldwide. Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Pat McGonigal.
And I'm Kristen Palmer. This is a live look from the Vatican. You can see crowds of onlookers. They're cheering about the news of a new pope. Now, we don't know who is selected just yet. The name will be revealed later when the top cardinal utters the word Habemus Papam. Now, it took just 4 votes to select the successor for Pope Francis. After failing to select a pope earlier this morning, the cardinals took a lunch break and they were able to reach a 2/3 majority needed. The winner was taken to the Sistine Chapel, where the newly elected pope will put on his papal attire for the first time. When he's ready, the new pope will then unveil himself on the balcony of the Sistine Chapel, greeting thousands of onlookers, as you can see here, in St. Peter's Square for the very first time as pontiff.
And we are already seeing some churches in the metro celebrating news of the new pope. This is a live look at Our Lady of Perpetual Help at 33rd and Broadway. Now, Fox 4's Hannah King is working to get local reactions to a new pontiff. We will have that tonight on Fox 4 News at 4, 5, and 6. And of course, we've been following the story from the Vatican since the beginning. You can find all of our coverage right now on fox4kc.com. You can also download the Fox 4 News app by scanning the QR code on your screen. And as we mentioned, the new pope will emerge from that balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square any minute. We will cut live, no matter what we're doing, to see the new pope emerge and greet the throngs of people who are gathered there. It's a momentous day.
A very exciting time.
Catholic Church. So keep it here. We will show you the new pope as soon as he steps out.
Oh,
okay,
we're just getting word.
Getting word that the new pope is coming out for the very first time. We are watching history right now.
You can hear the crowd cheering. Let's take a listen.
Let's listen in.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum. Habemus papam. Eminentissimum, ac reverendissimum Dominum, Dominum Robertum Franciscum, Sancte Romane Ecclesiae, Cardinalem Prevost, qui sibi nomen imposuit Leonem XIV.
We're just getting word the new pope is revealed as Robert Prevost of the U.S., the first American pontiff in history.
This is amazing. This is
Historic.
I mean, this was going to be historic either way, but the fact that the Cardinals have elected an American to lead the billion Catholics worldwide is something many said would never happen.
Yeah.
There was so much talk about other parts of the world where Catholicism is growing much faster than it is in the United States, like Africa and the Philippines. But for an American American to be chosen, Robert Prevost is the new leader of the Catholic Church
And
in
we
America.
were just hearing cheers. This is a very joyous day for people at the Vatican at the Sistine Chapel this afternoon or this evening for them. Historic news as a Catholic. Can you describe what this is like for people there in Rome?
Yes, it is. It's amazing. I have to think this. I don't think I saw his name on any short lists.
Okay.
Everybody, the famous saying was, any cardinal who walks into the conclave thinking they'll be the Pope walks out a cardinal.
Okay.
Now I'm just doing some. He was born in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
Robert Francis Prevost, he's a Chicago area guy, born in 1955. He has a Bachelor in Science and Mathematics from Villanova in 1977, Master of Divinity from the Catholic Theological Union in Chicago. Obviously very well schooled. Trying to see, he's worked in Peru. Pope Francis appointed him, so we did hear that a lot of the cardinals that would be voting today to choose the new pope were appointed by the previous pope, Pope Francis. So this cannot be overstated.
Yes, and he is actually going to come to the balcony, and
Yes,
he will
so
greet
we're still waiting on him
the
to
crowd.
come out onto the balcony to make his first public remarks as the pontiff. Robert
That is a
Francis
picture.
Prevost.
This is a picture of Robert Prevost, 69 years old, of the new pope just elected.
Now, I'm just seeing here, Kristen, he's reportedly very close to Pope Francis' vision regarding the environment, his outreach to the poor, migrants, and meeting people where they are. It is said in quotes here that he is not one to be a little prince sitting in his kingdom. Now, that obviously is very important because a lot of the speculation leading up to this was where Pope Francis was seen as somewhat progressive in his views relative to the Catholic Church historically, with the role of women and working for the poor. There was some discussion as to whether the new Pope would pick up where Francis left off, or maybe the Catholic Church would go in a different direction and pick a more conservative leader of the Church that would embrace some of the more rigid practices or traditions within the Catholic Church. But according to what I'm looking at right here, it sounds as though Robert Francis Prevost is more in the Pope Francis headspace in terms of the role of the Church in society.
And remember, he had a list of wishes after he passed of things he wanted to still happen, and that was to look out for the poor.
Yes.
And so those things are still happening.
Okay, and I'm just seeing he's going to take the name Pope Leo the 14th.
Okay.
Pope Leo.
the 14th.
Pope Leo the 14th, with the given name Robert Francis Prevost, born in Chicago, the leader of the Catholic Church. I did not have this on. I am not an expert. I'm Catholic, but I did not
Have this one.
have any thought. Of course, there's a cardinal from St. Louis, Tim Dolan, who I've met, and he was one of the cardinals who voted today. So it was Jacob Lanier who said he said, "Hey, I think it's the American. I think it's the American." And so I thought was, "Oh, I hope it's Tim Dolan," but it's Robert Prevost of Chicago. He went to Villanova.
Pope Leo the 14th.
So I'm looking at some.
He's going to address onlookers very soon here at the Vatican Sistine Chapel, and they're all waiting anxiously to see the new pope.
Thousands of people sitting there in St. Peter's Square just waiting to see Prevost.
And we know there were votes early this morning, and they took a lunch break before they made their official vote after lunch, and that's when we saw the white smoke coming from the Sistine Chapel.
And I'm just reading here from the College of the Cardinals, one of their websites. They're saying that Cardinal Prevost was being promoted as a possible compromise candidate if the leading candidates were unable to obtain enough votes. Of course, they had to secure 2/3 of the 133 voting cardinals. But Prevost, it says here, Pope Leo, as we'll now know him, Pope Leo the 14th, was involved in lengthy missionary service in Peru. He was seen as a more universal candidate than just as an American. He mitigated problems and has experience on the world stage.
Yeah, I'm also reading that he kept a low profile, but he's well known to men who count. It also says he presided over one of the most revolutionary reforms Francis made when he added 3 women to the voting block that decides which bishop nominations to forward the Pope, which is also historic to have women involved in selecting the new Pope.
That's a huge part of it.
So
yes.
he was a part of that. So.
Yes. And yeah, there's a breakdown on where he stands on a lot of these major issues where we're probably going to be hearing a lot as to ordaining female deacons in the church. Those are people who are allowed to give communion at Mass. They're not actually, priests, but they have roles, elevated roles within the Mass service. So it says, according to what I'm looking at here, he's against ordaining female deacons. Blessing same-sex couples, it's sort of a question mark. And that was one of the major departures we saw with Pope Francis, where there was the first time any pope in the history of time expressed some sentiments that were somewhat open to non-traditional marriage. The Catholic Church has been very clear on that point up until Pope Francis seemed to sort of open the door that he is at least willing to recognize that there are unions outside of the way that the church traditionally identified them.
And if you're not familiar with this process, just to put you in some sort of perspective, of the 266 popes who have led the Catholic Church, none of them have been from the United States.
It's remarkable. All right, here we go. Let's listen in. Pope Leo the 14th from Chicago, Illinois.
La pace sia con tutti voi. Fratelli, sorelle carissimi.
All right. We must always be a church of peace. Words spoken by the first American Pope. This is a live look at the Vatican. The Pope was just named the first American Pope. We're seeing it's historic. He will go by Leo the 14th from Chicago, Illinois.
Unbelievable. We're watching history. It cannot be overstated. An American Pope, something they said could never happen. There were odds. He was not among the finalists. He was nobody's pick among the people who claim to know about these things. I was just reading he had a 2% probability on one of the wagering sites that were. But anyway, but yes, we must be a church of peace and a church dedicated to the poor. He was elevated to the cardinal by Pope Francis in 2023, so he is definitely seen as someone who would pick up the mantle from Pope Francis, and it comes to his work with the poor and his dedication to the least among us. Cannot believe I'm saying it. We have an American Pope.
Yes, and we're going to be learning more about his life and all of his legacy, all the things that he's done. That will be coming up today at 4, 5, and 6. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break.